In this video, I'm going to be ranking the top 5 best auctionable cards at each position in NBA 2K23. My teams are the top 5 best auctionable point guards, top 5 best auctionable shooting guards, small forwards, power forwards, and centers as well. If you guys don't know what I mean by an auctionable card, it's going to be any card you can buy off the auction house. So no free cards, no lock-in cards, and also no collector level cards like Rashard Lewis. So these will just be the top 5 best cards each position you guys can buy directly from the auction house. So starting here with the top 5 best auctionable point guards, at the number 1 spot is going to be a really tie. It's honestly just going to be a tie between two different cards, and that's going to be Luka Doncic and Jimmy Butler. Both their endgame versions are literally the exact same card. If you compare Jimmy Butler to Luka Doncic, there's actually no difference. 6'7" at point guard for Luka, 6'8" wingspan, same thing for Jimmy, same exact player model and weight, right? Or at least exact same height or exact same weight. The player model might be a little bit different in game, exact same stats, of course, exact same tendencies that actually do matter. There's a couple for, Luka that might be a little bit better, like the driving layups a little bit higher, or the driving crossovers a little bit lower. But for the ones that actually do matter, like the finishing, the flashy dunk, standing dunk, driving dunk, or the, defensive tendencies, they're all going to be the same. Badges identical, and animations, that's the biggest part, are all identical. Like literally every single animation, whether it's his jump shot, their dribble sigs, their dunk packages, everything about this card is exactly the same. So they're just going to be tied for the first spot. I'm gonna just put Luka at 1, Jimmy at 2, but they're the exact same card. And then at the number 3 spot, I think the third best auctionable point guard has to be that man, Nikola Jokic. He's 6'11" at the point guard position, so he's got that size. He's got a 7'3" wingspan, a great player model in game. He's a great defender, has a top tier jump shot with the Eric Paschal base, Oscar upper on very quick timing, and then he's also got great dribble sigs as well, pretty good dunk packages, and Jokic can just do everything on the court at a very high level. Now at the number 4 spot is going to be the also hero Ben Simmons, and I do like Ben Simmons. I like everything about Ben except for his jump shot, right? So once his card gets an invincible or his endgame version, he's probably going to be the new best point guard because he's 6'11" at that point guard position, 7-foot wingspan. But the best thing about Ben is probably his defense and his size. He's got one of the best player models in the game. He gets some of the craziest defensive animations, and he's just such a good lock at that point guard spot, and also does have some very decent dribble sig. So all around, Ben Simmons I think is going to be the 4th best auctionable point guard. And now to round out the top 5 best auctionable point guards, I do think is actually going to be Penny Hardaway. I think he's amazing at point guard and really just does everything at a super high level. He's 6'7" at the 1, 6'10" wingspan, great stats and badges across the board, perfect defensive tendencies, and I actually really like his jump shot with the D-Rose base and the John Wall upper on very quick timing, has amazing dribble sigs, he moves super quick on the court, and also can finish at the basket, great at getting downhill and finishing at the rim. So now to go on to my top 5 best auctionable shooting guards, at the number 1 and 2 spot, going to be a very similar situation to Luka and Jimmy, and that is going to be Kevin Durant and Paul George. Now, there is a little bit of difference in the card when it comes to the player model and the size. If we compare the cards real quick, you can see that Kevin Durant is a little bit taller than Paul George and has a little bit more to the wingspan. So that's like the only reason why I'm putting Kevin Durant over PG, because just like Luka, just like Jimmy Butler, the exact same tendencies for everything that matters, exact same badges, and most importantly, the exact same animations. So I think Kevin Durant's just slightly better because of his height being a little bit taller and a little bit more on the wingspan. I will say Paul George does have like a wider player build and sometimes gets like better defensive animations in game, but I think you still got to give it to Kevin Durant as the best auctionable shooting guard. But then I do have Paul George at the number 2 spot. For number 3, I think it's easily got to go to the invincible T-Mac. I still think this card is absolutely insane offensively. 6'8" at the 2, 7'2" wingspan, and he's got everything amazing except for his dribble sigs. Now his dribble sigs are great, they're still very good sigs. It's just that's the one thing that he could really upgrade on his endgame version, is getting those better dribble sigs will really help this card out on the offensive end. Like I really wish if T-Mac were to get an endgame card, which I assume he will, is once he gets his endgame card, that'll most likely be able to play point guard. It'd be really nice if he got the Steve Francis size up in the tray escape, just like all the endgame cards, but if they actually kept his jump shot, it would one more feel like a T-Mac card from this year, and I feel like it would actually be a better jump shot, because all this card needs to be a perfect point guard or a perfect shooting guard is the Steve Francis size up, the tray escape. That's literally all this card needs. and maybe like the quick drops off one, and maybe some better dunk packages and some better defensive tendencies. But the main thing they need to, upgrade on this card is going to be his dribble sigs. But yeah, for right now on Team Max Invincible, I think he's going to be the third best auctionable shooting guard. And then at the number 4 spot, I do have Danny Granger, one of the more underrated shooting guards in the game. I think you could argue him over T-Mac. He's got a really good player model. He's 6'9" at the shooting guard position, 7'1" wingspan. He's a great defender. I really like his jump shot with the KPJ base, Kevin Love upper on very quick timing, and then he's also got great dribble sigs. Could use some better dunk packages, but also does have perfect defensive tendencies. And I think he's going to be one of the best auctionable shooting guards. And now to round out the top 5 best auctionable shooting guards in the game, I do think it's going to be Tim Thomas. Now there is some other shooting guards out there you could probably consider, like a Carmelo, a Kawhi Leonard potentially could be over Tim Thomas. We can't use Terry Dischinger because he's a lock-in card, not buyable off the auction house. But yeah, Tim Thomas is still 6'10" at the 2, 7'2" wingspan. We know he's got a really good jump shot. We know he moves super quick on the court with those great dribble sigs. So I think Tim Thomas is going to round out those top 5 auctionable shooting guards. Now to go on to the top 5 auctionable small forwards. At the number 1 spot, don't think I really have to explain it, but it's going to be the invincible Victor Wembanyama. Easily the best auctionable small forward in the game, the best card in the game in general. He's 7'5" at the small forward position, 8-foot wingspan, one of the best player models in the game, 99, legit every single stat. You take a look at his animations, he's got a great jump shot with that Kuzma base, Tim Duncan upper on very quick timing. He's also got the tray fade. He's got great dribble sigs for a 7'5" card. Like, he moves exceptionally good in game. I do think Victor easily going to be the best auctionable small forward. Now at the number 2 spot is going to be the Hero Bol. Still got that size, even though Victor's really tall. I mean, Bol's still fairly tall as well. 7'2" at small forward, 7'7" wingspan. And Bol is just such a good defender in game. He gets great animations. He's a top tier defender, has a pretty knockdown jump shot, and also great dribble sigs for a 7'2" small forward card that I think he's easily going to be that second best auctionable small forward. Now at the number 3 spot, I think it's going to be Paolo Banchero. Just a really good all-around endgame. He's going to have the same jump shot, same dribble sigs as the other endgame cards. They're not going to be any different from a Kevin Durant or Luka Doncic or Jimmy Butler when it comes to the animations, but he is 6'10" at small forward, so maybe not the tallest small forward in the game, but does have some pretty decent size. And then for the number 4 and 5 spot, I got Larry Bird at 4, and then I do have LeBron at the number 5 spot. That one really just comes down to preference. I think Bird's got the better jump shot, LeBron's the better defender, better slashing to the rim, but I think they're going to be the 4th and 5th best auctionable small forwards currently in the game. But now to go on to the top 5 best auctionable power forwards. For number 1 and 2, once again, I would say it's really up to it. It's really a toss-up and really down to preference. I got Shaq at 1 and D-Rob at 2, but once again, guys, like, it really just comes down to your preference with the jump shots. Now they're going to be the exact same release on the endgame versions, but I will say, at least from what I've noticed, is when it's a lefty jump shot for like D-Rob or Bill Russell for this endgame release of the KPJ base, Sadiq Bey upper, I think the lefty release is actually a little bit better. It just feels more consistent and a little bit easier to time. It's not as fast and it doesn't get as many load up animations, at least from what I found using D-Rob and Bill Russell. But I think Shaq's player model still does oversize, and just kind of outweigh D-Rob's jump shot maybe being a little bit better, because Shaq's player model in game is ridiculously good. But once again, kind of like the Jimmy and Luka, pretty much tied for that 1 spot, but I got Shaq slightly over D-Rob. Now at the number 3 spot, I do have the invincible Kristaps. I think he's still so amazing for a power forward. It really does everything you need, at that power forward position. You got a card that is 7'3" with a 7'6" wingspan, can play power forward, and we know Kristaps has got a top tier jump shot. I don't think he's on that D-Rob or that Shaq level, but still is amazing at the power forward position and got to be somewhere here in the top 5. And then at the number 4 and 5 spot, I do have the next Victor Wembanyama, and also I do have Taco Fall. I think these cards are very similar. Taco 7'6", 8'2" wingspan at power forward. You got Victor Wembanyama, he's 7'5" with an 8-foot wingspan, and both have great player models, really good defensively. I just think Victor's got the better jump shot, a little bit quicker, and maybe a tiny bit better on defense. Just feels more mobile, can move a little bit laterally. So I think these are going to be my top 5 best auctionable power forwards. Now to go on to the last position here, the top 5 best auctionable centers. So at the number 1 spot, gotta give it to Yao Ming. still an absolute beast at that center position. We know what Yao Ming cards can do at this point of the year. He's 7'6" at center, 7'9" wingspan, great stats and badges across the board, and still has that knockdown jump shot for a center card, especially when we're talking about Yao Ming. For the number 2 spot, I think you gotta give it to Shaq just because of his player model and his size, right? That's the reason why I'm putting him over D-Rob, because I don't want to have too many of the power forwards also as center cards. So yeah, I do think Shaq gonna be at number 2 just because he has a great player model, and there's really not too many great auctionable centers in the game. At number 3, I got Mark Eden, a really good defensive big, great player model, great interior defender, blocks a lot of shots, and can mash down low. At the number 4 spot, I'm going Victor Wembanyama. Like I said, elite level defender and does have great size. And then to round out the top 5 auctionable centers, I do think it's going to be Ralph Sampson, a very similar center card to Mark Eden, just there for his size and his defense. But yeah, guys, that's going to be my top 5 best auctionable cards at each position. So these are my top 5 best auctionable point guards, top 5 best auctionable shooting guards, small forwards, power forwards, and centers as well. But let me know in the comment section down below what you guys would change about my top 5s, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.